I believe there's something there. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Wicked.
Anyways. Love to take a few more questions, and then we can get out of this room and maybe take some pictures and have some more drinks. We got here. Yes, sir, you.
What's up, Brian? It's Prash.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. Couple of things. Firstly, love being a part of your courses. If you haven't done BY or any of the courses, really recommend it. I'm not getting paid for this, by the way.
Thank you, man.
But I think it really changed my life. So firstly, thanks for letting us all be a part of this. Secondly, the movie really did a lot for me on multiple levels, not just because I'm a vegan, but I think for me, because I really resonate with a lot of what John was saying, and I think what you went through. For myself, I come from that tradition from India, the Vedic tradition of India, and so I studied the Bhagavad Gita. And I guess this is my question for you. In the Bhagavad Gita, one of the key themes that Krishna talks about is us transcending the ego and the senses and even our intellect. You've obviously just spent a lot of quality time with this man over here, with Dan. What key realizations showed up for you during that experience recently that speak to that? And what perhaps one key word of advice you could give to all of us in our own sort of spiritual journeys?
And so you're referring to this movie or My Time with Dan, or both?
Both,
okay.
both.
So look, our next movie, it is about examining the human ego, and I'm always going back and forth, with my own ego and trying to figure out why I'm doing something. And whenever I do something for me, it all goes wrong. And whenever I think about doing something for other people and it doesn't make any sense to my capitalistic engineering mind, everything goes right. And I started noticing this about 2 years into London Real, where I was like, wait a second, I've got friends and I feel good and all this stuff is happening. And so I think they can both exist. And if you look at the great companies in Silicon Valley, it's because they're making other people's lives better. And Dan and I argue about this all the time, but my daughter came to his 70th birthday, and she got pulled up to do a speech, and she was, 10 years old, baby? 11 years old, right? She just got there, never met Dan, never been to the damn castle, and she says, why is Dan doing this? He's got billions, and yet he spends his time helping all these other people. And it was like from the mouths of babes, And so, he might argue with me on this, I don't know. But I mean, I think when you are trying to beat down that ego, and it's hard, and you still have to have an ego to exist, you got to get up, you got to finish the Ironman. I still do things for egoic reasons. But I find when I'm not, that's where some big stuff happens. And this is a theme that consistently comes up on London Real with all of the OG guests that you know and love. There's 25 of them. They ultimately come back to that thing, that the ultimate thing is to give back to this collective, and we are all one. And it sounds like a bumper sticker, but it's the goddamn truth. And I see it in the ceremonies as well. I saw you, Dan Pena, in my ceremonies with Daniel, and I see all these powerful figures pushing us forward as one humanity. And I feel a responsibility to do that, and it feels great, and it feels urgent, and it's going to be part of this movie, and it doesn't make sense to me. And the plants and the Gaia were laughing at me, saying, you humans, you think you're the big deal, and you're fucking nothing. You're nothing. You're just little specks of dust, and you're going to go back to the dust. And Dan says that too. We're nothing more than a fart in the wind, right? As Dan, right, and that's exactly what Mother Ayahuasca told me, right? I'm not saying anything, Dan. But that's what she told me too. You're nothing, right? You're going to dissolve, and your emotions are your little human party here, although it might mess us up a little bit, so we'll talk about that later. But at the same time, at the very end, I said, yeah, but we are humans, and I am here, and I do feel these emotions. And guess what? I'm going to try to make a go for it. And I feel that in this day and age, it's really hard to think about other people. It's us and our Instagram feed and our money and the net, and it's making us more disconnected and more angry. And I think ultimately, deep down inside, look at the people that you admire, then they actually are doing something that gives back to the collective, which isn't ego-based. So I'm not saying I'm there. I try every day. I fail every day. But I think that's where the meaning comes from, that John was talking about in the Hare Krishna temple. What is the meaning of life? For me, it is service to others. And I don't know why, and I got another few ceremonies over the next few years. Maybe I'll figure it out, but it makes sense to me. And that's what we're trying to do here at London Real. And just because it feels good and it seems right. So that's my answer. Cool. Yeah?